Welcome to the listening skills video. In this video, we're going to explore developing listening skills. You will find answers to the following questions. How do we listen? What are the models of listening comprehension? What are the typical challenges and problems our learners face? What activities can be done before, while, and after listening? Listening is considered to be one of the most problematic skills because of the following categories of difficulties. Characteristics of the message, the delivery, the listener, and the environment. So, how can we teachers help our students develop listening skills and encourage them to listen more? We will find out the answers in this video. Let's start with the definition of listening. It is one of the 4 language skills, along with reading, writing, and speaking, and is considered to be a passive skill. It is the skill of understanding spoken language and a goal-oriented activity which involves the use of prior knowledge, contextual clues, and expectations in order to create meaning. Listening is a receptive skill, and it helps learners better understand the speech, work on their vocabulary range, and pronunciation. Well, how do we listen? The different ways that help us listen are called subskills. Here are the main subskills we use to help learners develop their listening skills. The first one is making predictions. Before the learners start listening, some pictures or some words from the listening text should be shown. The pictures or the words may help the learners predict what they are going to listen about. The second is listening for gist. The learners listen to the text to get a general idea. They don't have to understand every single word or phrase. In real life, this can be listening to the news to get the main message from it, for example, what this piece of news is about. The next one is listening for specific information. The learners listen to find out some specific details at the word level, for example, keywords. Here, the learners don't have to understand the whole text, but only its specific part. For example, listening to the weather forecast to find out what the weather will be like tomorrow. And the last one is listening for detailed information. The learners aim to understand details in the text at a sentence level. For example, listening to a recipe of a cake to find out how to make it. Here, understanding the details is crucial. Other subskills that are worth mentioning are distinguishing sounds and understanding different accents. When developing listening skills, we, teachers, should also pay attention to them. There are 2 processes that are involved in listening comprehension: bottom-up and top-down processing. Bottom-up processing describes using the incoming input as the basis for understanding the message. Comprehension begins with the received data that is analyzed as successive levels of organization: sounds, words, clauses, sentences, texts, until meaning is derived. Comprehension is viewed as a process of decoding. For example, a listener employs their lexical knowledge to assign meanings to words and use logical reasoning to infer relationships between them. When listening to a news report, a listener picks out a sequence of known words: the president, invited, the guests, the Independence Day, and decodes the meaning. They would assign the role of the agent to the president, invited as the action, guests as the outcome, and Independence Day as the time when the action takes place. When we want to focus on listening comprehension through bottom-up processing in the classroom, there is a range of tasks to choose from. For example, it could be listening to a piece of news and ticking or underlining the words in the task that learners hear. Usually, it's recommended to choose between 6 to 8 words for the task so the learners feel motivated and interested. Moreover, even an authentic recording can be chosen, as here we grade the task. The main aim of this task will be decoding the listening text using the keywords which help them reconstruct the piece of news and understand it better. Top-down processing refers to the use of background knowledge in understanding the meaning of a message. Background knowledge may be previous knowledge about the topic of discourse. It may be situational or contextual knowledge stored in long-term memory in the form of schemata and scripts. For example, if an adult reads a book to children in the park, an observer would assume that the adult is reading a story, not a news article or report. This is generated from the situation. When it comes to focusing on listening comprehension through top-down processing in the classroom, one of the tasks could be making predictions. First, the learners do listening for gist, where they listen to the story for 20 seconds or so and discuss what they have heard. Then, they discuss what might happen in the story next, together with their partner, listen and check their ideas. The main aim of this task is to help learners use a top-down strategy to understand the listening text better. In real-world listening, both bottom-up and top-down processing generally occur together and are mutually dependent. We have discussed listening subskills and models of listening comprehension. Now, it's time to talk about the typical problems learners experience when dealing with listening and how these problems can be tackled. I would like to outline the following common challenges that students have. Number 1. Concentration and short attention spans. Sometimes, for example, when the learners are tired, it's quite difficult for them to focus on listening. Number 2. A limited range of vocabulary and trying to understand every word. Number 3. Speed. How fast the speakers speak can be very problematic for the learners. Number 4. Understanding different accents. And number 5. Connected speech. Such features of connected speech as assimilation, catenation, elision, intrusion bring a lot of problems for learners when understanding the speech. If the learners don't have any problems with their own pronunciation, then connected speech won't cause any problems with listening comprehension. What can the possible solutions be to these problems? Here is our action plan. Expose students to natural speech. Establish good learning habits. Grade the task. Use short texts. And work on connected speech and pronunciation. Now, it's time to talk about activities. What activities can be done before, while, and after listening? Before listening activities. Brainstorming topic-related vocabulary. Making predictions based on pictures, photos, realia. Showing 5 to 7 words from listening, students guess the topic. A teaser section, playing the first 15 seconds, students predict what the listening is about and what will happen next. While listening activities. Answering questions, detecting mistakes, gap filling, labeling, matching activities, multiple choice, note-taking, true-false sentences, ticking lists. After listening activities. Language focus, looking through the audio script of the text, focusing on the language, for example, on unknown words, collocations, grammar structures. Reaction to the text. In real life, we always listen for a reason. Our task is to help our learners acquire real-life skills. The final task for a lesson with a focus on developing listening skills could be a discussion of the learner's response to what they've heard. And, last but not least, try to use at least 2 skills, for example, listening and speaking, or different systems, e.g. vocabulary, grammar, when your lesson aim is developing listening skills. Use audio scripts to go in-depth with the language. Use any opportunity to help your learners extend their vocabulary and grammar ranges. Vary the tasks so the learners will always feel engaged and motivated. Invite your learners to give their personal responses to what they have heard. Involve your learners in the task design. This will help develop their learner autonomy. Now that we know what listening skills are, we can move on to exploring what exam listening skills are and what strategies can help your students do exam tasks successfully. You can find one more useful tip below this video. See you in the next one.